So tell me what you liked from this film. We watched it in 70 millimeter at the Vista. What did you think?
Well, I think everyone's favorite aspect of this movie is just the authentic and heartfelt relationship between Rocky and Dr. Grace. I really commend Ryan Gosling for his ability to be so simultaneously charming and empathetic as an actor, and the fact that he was interacting with a faceless alien rock the entire movie, and yet it felt so real and tangible. And at certain moments I was thinking, like, am I about to cry over a rock? Even with its robotic dialogue, it still made me feel feelings for it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that comes from the physicality of the rock, like it being a puppet, but also Ryan Gosling's acting.
Yeah, I think there's something you said that was like there's 3 different versions of how Rocky was shown to us. It was one as a puppet, one as CGI, and also as another was animatronics. And Hello Kitty at one point was like a very big scare factor. Oh, since it doesn't have a smile in the design, maybe people won't resonate with it. And the fact that people were resonating with Rocky because they had nothing gets me so excited for the future, right? Talked about this, Mandalorian was such a big deal.
Because you never see Mandalorian's face, and they cast such a charismatic person to play Mando. The fact that the character is beloved without you ever seeing Pedro's face, I thought was really cool too.
But see, the thing with Mando is that the silhouette of Mandalorian is a human, whether you like it or not. And if it wasn't for Boba Fett, opening that door of that mysterious masked man, then Mandalorian wouldn't be able to walk. So when we see Rocky, he's like a legit rock spider. There's nothing really there that opened us up into liking this. Maybe Star Wars did, but I'm so happy that people resonated with this. I'm so happy that general audiences resonated with this. So then that opens the door for more characters like Rocky that have no face, maybe might not have immediate personality to push through in future cinema. So, but I think that's all based off of Ryan Gosling's performance, right? Like if he wasn't that the way he is and the person he is, Rocky would be kind of gimmicky. I mean, like we've seen movies like If Ryan Reynolds was in this, I think this would have been the worst movie ever.
Or if it was made by Sean Levy.
Or if it was made by Sean Levy.
Who made Deadpool and Wolverine.
And who's also going to make Star Wars. So we'll see.
With Ryan Gosling in it. So we've talked a lot about how Ryan Gosling carries this movie because it's a duo movie and he's the only human in the duo. So Mickey 17 also had a character like this that was charismatic, kind of lost in life, but had potential, but was insecure about that potential and was just kind of scared to fully tap into it. And I found that Ryan Gosling's character, Dr. Grace, was also like that. I mean, he literally has a shirt on that I really like that said, "I had potential." I don't know if this is propaganda for that like nerdy sort of half-assed men, but I don't know. I thought he developed into a confident and, Rocky called him brave man at the end of it. And I always find like unapologetically nerdy men to be really charismatic. And I like that he was self-aware of his insecurities. Initially, he was a bit dodgy with it. He didn't want to fully confess to being scared and fearing death, as any human does, but I didn't expect the reveal that he was literally kidnapped into being on this mission. I thought he grew to just accept it because he was clearly the best fit to be on the ship from Sandra Hüller's character's understanding, but I really like that we know that he isn't, and then we clearly see his development into being made for it. We can now see what Sandra Hüller saw in him by the end of the film. Please watch our Mickey 17 review. That was another thing that we were highlighting why we enjoyed this film, because we don't see enough about everyday people who are going through anxieties, but also I genuinely believe we are dealing with a crisis with men right now, that they have sense of identity issues, the sense of understanding what it is macho, what is feminine, what is right, what is wrong, and I feel like movies like this make you realize, okay, everybody has an opportunity to push themselves, and they can reach a level that one cannot expect. So to see this in a film, granted has been done before, but we also need... is played by a really attractive person. I also just like that he's a school teacher, because I always find that maybe this is just a Western issue or an American issue, but they really undervalue teachers and how important they are in our lives. And as someone who has had many teachers influence them in like incredible ways, I love that he is an elementary school teacher. Yeah, and I also enjoy the fact that this film is getting really positive. I feel like this is a movie that you could play at a gymnasium, auditorium during a rainy day, during a rainy day. And I think you need films like this, right? Like in our modern day problem. Like, hey, I can even ask your like little brother who rarely goes to field trips post COVID, right? Like, if he heard that they're going to watch Project Hail Mary, maybe say 10 years in the future, these kids are going to watch an older film. This is a great film to watch with everybody. Yeah. Like, this isn't military propaganda. Let's get all the countries together and find a way to make peace. What we're talking about here with this film, it feels like a great 90s
America type of image where you have a Chinese man, a Chinese kid, black kid, Indian kid, white kid, they're all holding hands in peace and unity, trying to fight for peace. And I feel like we need more films like this. But I also have some negatives with that, but we'll come to that later.
Yeah.
So you talked about anxiety, kind of like understanding your purpose in this world. But another thing that I really enjoyed with, and especially in a sci-fi movie, is the concept of loneliness. I think once you get into that moment when Dr. Grace needs to say goodbye to Rocky, my first immediate reaction was, oh, now he's going to be alone. Or maybe even the moment when Rocky was dying, or we assumed was dead, I immediately thought, like, now he's alone.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing that I think scared both of the characters. And it was the kind of like the unsaid story of this film where both of these characters do not want to be alone.
Yeah, and that's very human.
Yet there are two people who naturally want to be alone, right? This teacher had no family. The immediate family had no girlfriend, had no pets or anything like that. This is an engineer, and engineers are more leaning towards like kind of introverts, I want to say. And so that's a really funny thing. It's like these two self-wanted introverts are wanting to be together during this time. You see this during the moment when Rocky wants to sleep closer to Dr. Grace. I find these little moments so warming, because once you get into all that exposition of like them trying to sleep next to each other, them trying to be friends, them trying to figure out their language, and you get into that moment of bam, Rocky saved Dr. Grace when he got his face slammed into the glass. You're like, all that buildup was for something. And like that was so great. Like, thank God this film was 2 hours and 45. I don't care if it was a little bit boring at points. It used that time in order to set up something, which is that friendship.
Yeah.
And so kudos. Like, maybe, this film is very surface level. Maybe is too positive for a lot of people's liking. Maybe it is a 5 out of 5 because you've only watched 4 films, but that's okay.
It's very much a movie that I want to watch to feel some sense of faith and hope, and feeling that we could also, do this for our own planet. And one of my favorite scenes and elements of the movie, how you're talking about the friendship building, was seeing him initially experience the fact that he missed Earth through those images that he would project of trees, of the ocean.
The fishing scene was hilarious too.
I really like that because I thought in the visual elements of everything, like you're constantly seeing him isolated, you're seeing space as this vast, black, uncertain and untapped territory. And I think when you see Earth in that context, you see nature in that context, it makes you really think and just kind of appreciate the fact that we live on Earth. And I think we undermine that a lot as humans. We have heaven practically as nature, and when you see him miss it and you see him not be a part of it, you're like, okay, wow, we really don't appreciate that enough.
No.
And then to take those parts, and when he introduced Rocky to Earth and showed him his favorite parts of Earth, I thought that was really heartwarming, and I liked seeing him explain it and tell him this is a tree, you climb it, this is the ocean. I don't know. Those are my favorite interactions.
What I really enjoyed with the spaceship of Dr. Grace's is that you did feel that there were different cultures inserting their cultural design into the spaceship. And one thing that's very apparent is like the door that was opening up and to extend into Rocky's path that he created. The door has Russian letters on the door, which then says, all these countries that grouped together in order to make up the spaceship found ways to put their design language into it. But Rocky's was one universal design language, right? It almost felt like there is no concept of races in his world. Yeah. Yet, when you see the moment of Dr. Grace teaching the kids of Little Rocks, there are different shapes, colors, sizes. And so that then says, is there a potential way that there could be different races within Rocky's world? And then that makes it even more exciting to say, what if there are different races, but even though there are different races, they all still have one design language? And I kind of wish there were more opportunities for me to kind of jump into that and then kind of rip it open to see like what is this world that they have created. There's a bit of rambling, but I love world design, and so that was the one thing that I really enjoyed, that they put a lot of time into this.
I also really liked Rocky's world and I wanted to see more of it, but I liked his character design more because I thought just as the Earth imagery was a contrast to space, and what you were saying with his spaceship and his design being very Western and the world coming together.
Yeah.
I thought Rocky's...
Graces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Rocky's design was like that. He looked like a cave painting / indigenous just culture as an alien to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know how intentional that is and if it's just me looking too into it because I'm a humanities major and I've taken a lot of colonial classes and history classes, but especially when he wore his tribal and cultural wear, he just looked like an ancient relic. He looked like something that humans kind of forget and no longer really resonate with, and we just kind of tend to distance ourselves from that side of ourselves, even though, you know, that was part of our progression. So I just like that aspect of his character, and I think a part of us connecting with him, with the fact that he's not faceless, and besides his noises that he'd make, is that spiritualness that he had of looking like that, and then the fact that he could play music, he would hum frequencies. It was very spiritual, and he was also very hands-on. He was able to create a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think modern humans are losing that sense of ourselves because everything is just, you can buy it from the store. And
right, like our pinkies or our nails, right? We're not using our nails anymore, like before they used to. Like,
we don't weave anymore,
yeah.
We don't create things. And it was interesting that the first interaction you had with Rocky was things that he created. It wasn't language, it was objects. And that was his way of messaging. And I thought, oh wow, that kind of calls back to earlier civilizations because they would trade.
Yeah, great
They would
point,
more so communicate with sounds, ritual, noise, and also through artifact and rocks and things like that.
Yeah, and I think that's like also goes into how we as in modern society have devalued our ancient races and groups and countries and histories and everything like that, because they would tend to group them as like, oh, they are savages or they are unintelligent, but they have a completely different understanding of life than modern humans do. So that was a great like juxtaposition of, let's just say, like ancient futurism against a considered extreme modern futurism, and I love that. Like, see, like,
I mean, he's a blonde guy. He's a 6 foot blonde.
Yeah, and you have a complete brown-looking rock against it, right? And that's like, I feel like in order to be blonde, it takes thousands and thousands and thousands of years in order to get to that point, right? But versus a rock is a rock, you know. And I don't know how.
It's not just a boulder; it's a rock.
Yeah, so I agree with you completely. I have a deep love for things. I don't know if you guys can see my background of that concept. So the fact that the concept is ancient futurism, and if it gets to the point where Lil and I ever make movies, like ancient futurism is like it's my cocaine, to put it simply. But thanks for pointing that out. I didn't.
Yeah, I like how you like that, but I'm the one that noticed it.
Yeah.
It's because I study the history.
Yeah, it's true.
When you study the history of something, it tends to marinate more. So this is going to be more of me glazing Ryan Gosling / Dr. Grace. But when we first met the character and we didn't know anything about him and we're just as confused as he was, I really like the fact that we meet his coworkers through albums. And we can hear him trying to understand who they were, what they were, looking through their objects, because I don't know, I like seeing and trying to understand people through what they own, seeing the photos, trying to get a sense of, oh, this guy always sticks his tongue out in photos. What does that say about him? She got 2 pouches of vodka with her. Clearly she's Russian. So I really like those moments. And I thought the way that Dr. Grace said goodbye to them and honored their legacies, even though he didn't remember anything about those 2 characters, already told me so much about his sense of humanity. And he didn't need to go that extra mile of sending them off in space and putting those photos in their hands.
Yeah.
I thought the way he sent them off was very honorable and graceful. Dr. Grace. So,
who had an amazing knitwear, I have to say. He had great clothes.
Oh my God, the fox cardigan was so cool. I had the 2 foxes. And
hold up.
But that's a trope with Ryan Gosling, is he always has cool jackets. I mean, Drive.
I also have a really cool. I also have a really cool jacket. This is my knitwear. It's very similar to Ryan Gosling's thing. So when he was wearing his knit, I was like, I gotta bust this shit out, you know. So I think that's mostly all of the positives for this film. But there are things that pissed us off too.
I wouldn't say pissed, but I just shrugged.
Yeah, we're gonna go into the negatives right now. But first, you guys need to like, subscribe, and just leave us a comment of what you guys think about the things that we positively like. So Lil, what are some negatives that you have regarding this film, Project Hail Mary?
I loved how terrifying the idea is to wake up in space, in a spaceship, and not know who you are, what your name is, why you're there, what's gonna happen. That sounds like genuinely one of the most scariest things ever.
Yeah.
And I would never, ever, ever want to be in that scenario. Obviously not. And I thought that was just, I'm already hooked from the idea of this character. Who is he? Why is he here? I'm immediately drawn to it.
Yeah.
But it had a little bit of that Ryan Johnson tendency of, you're in that, it starts with him in a body bag, you're not even seeing his face, it's claustrophobic, and then the minute this all unravels, literally, he screams and just falls and gets clumsy, and it gets kind of like, I'm gonna bring up Ryan Johnson again, Finn, when you see him post-coma in Last Jedi, where he's just walking around the ship with liquid spewing, you're just like, bro, Finn almost died. What? This ain't funny to me, even if you're trying to make me laugh.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish it marinated more in this concept, in the prospect of him being alone in space. Yeah, he should be having an anxiety attack, but to just be like, ah! And then for him to be drinking vodka from the get-go, I mean, I get how that would lead to him trying to drink and escape, but I really do wish it lingered more into the mystery of that, and also just taken that more seriously, because I don't think the tone stayed that silly, which I appreciate, but to start off in this like, oh, whoa, this character is in some deep shit right now, to then just be like, the next minute, I don't like that.
I totally agree with you. I was so scared. Once I started doing all those things, I'm like, oh my God, is this Guardians of the Galaxy 2 for me right now? Like where everyone was hyping it up, saying it was the best movie ever, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm watching it and I'm like, this is the dumbest piece of crap I've ever seen in my life. I took a step back and I'm like, right, this is Phil Lord and Ben Miller. What's their name?
Christopher. I always mix it. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, right?
But let's just say it's Phil Lord and Christopher Miller.
Or the other way.
They lean more into animation. Granted, they did 21st Jump Street, and like those are comedy films.
My name's Jeff, though.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to get is that though that intro, that opening, first act was, if you made it into an animated film, I wouldn't say anything. Right? But because it's live action, it's like, this is a little stupid. But
once again, thankfully, it's not Ryan Reynolds, it's Ryan Gosling, so it's digestible.
It's digestible, right? And so like that, I have to say the first act for me, I was scared shitless. I was scared shit, like I'm gonna be sitting here
for 3
watching
hours.
a 3-hour film and everyone lied to me. Thank God, I don't know, it went to second act, I'm like, okay, no, this is a good film. This is a really solid film. And so now, the fact the second, third was good, do you now say, okay, the first act was, yeah, it was a little cringy at times, the jokes weren't landing the way I wanted to, but that's okay. You know, like, I'm glad
I do forgive it, and I do understand that perhaps if it did go in the more intense route, my brother wouldn't sleep that night, so maybe they just avoided highlighting this state of fear within us, and the character is for us to be able to, you know, enjoy the experience more.
Yeah, it is kind of like an appetizer. It's like, hey,
they tone down the spice levels.
Let's chill out. This is not a Christopher Nolan film, too.
Oh, I mean, I'm glad it ain't.
I guess you're right. Like, it is a tone setter. Granted, it might be a little stupid, but it's a tone setter. We didn't like it, but it's okay.
It's okay.
But I also just want to highlight, and like, maybe Ryan Gosling needs a nomination for an Oscar because
he's had a few.
For this one, because the writing is a little bit dated. Right, this general story beats and everything.
Nothing crazy.
I think everything is nothing crazy. If you really want to bring it, it's all because of Ryan. This film is Ryan. Like, there's nothing where I'm like, wow, this CGI, this looks beautiful. There's none of that. I think there's a lot of moments like that, but there's not. This is not like a slap in the face. Ryan Gosling slapped me in the face. And so
I was saying this about La La Land, but no one wants to agree with me.
I think Ryan should get a nomination for this.
Yeah.
Because if Ryan wasn't in this film, Rocky wouldn't be good. The story wouldn't be good. The tone wouldn't be good. The idea as a whole would be like, this is nothing.
I agree.
So
maybe he's the Scorpio I should have followed over Adam Driver. So you mentioned that none of the scenes were breathtaking per se, even though some may disagree with that, a lot probably would. I was telling Gord last night that after we watched it, one thing I was yearning for was a sense of childlike wonder. And I know that I can still feel that way because I'm I'm not a childish person per se, but I love fairy tales, I love fantasy.
Yeah.
I love animation. Like, I tend to go to those things when I'm sad. That's my serotonin level burst. So I don't know, even though there was clear moments that were trying to conjure wonder, hope, childhood magic, especially the part when he was in the Petrova line where it was all those red bubbles.
Oh yeah,
He was in the midst of it all.
Candace, you remember that name, kind of.
I thought that maybe because I've seen too many movies, it all felt a bit too familiar for me to fully grasp at it. I know it's a lot to compare these two to the OG blockbuster king, Steven Spielberg. You know when E.T. and the kids start riding bikes and they start floating and you see the moon behind them and there's this sense of, wow, aliens are real, magic is real, life is gonna start all over again. I didn't feel that from any scene in this movie, and I really wanted to. I was fully in it. I was fully giving it a chance to do that. I wasn't someone that was like trying to stay unimpressed and bitter, because why would I? But I can't lie that none of those scenes did that for me. None of them made me kind of, or hold my breath, I would say. I sometimes wonder if this kind of has the issues of modern Guillermo del Toro movies for me, where maybe it's almost too sappy and kind of coming from a good place of heart that it doesn't let moments stand out as on their own. Because recent Guillermo movies don't do that for me, versus in Shape of Water, at least for me, the ending reveal with the gills, I was like, that was a wonder moment for me. Yeah, well, it's all set up though, right? Like I would say all that setup is for that wonder moment. Exactly.
A lot of those films are like, here's all the setup just for this one damn moment, right?
But I'm saying maybe this was such an overdose of positive. Kind of that maybe nothing then was able to breathe on its own fully.
I think you just hit it on the nail. I think that's definitely what it is.
I feel like so many movies, modern films, it's very on paper, it has all the ingredients, but for some reason it isn't. And it always frustrates me because I'm craving that. I'm really craving having that feeling in a movie theater again, but it only ever happens when I'm watching old movies.
This is a great film where I can take my family members. It's not a sirat, where I'm like, I can't take my dad to watch this.
No, but I don't even want to watch sirats.
No. I'll give you another negative based on the thing that you said that kind of remind me, because there's something on paper that this film is doing that like thinks is doing revolutionary, and it's not. I sometimes get really uncomfortable with America's sense of like, we're the savior though. Like China died, Russia died, and we're the only ones that survived, right? And it's like, why are you guys getting
you're too woke.
Your two actors, Americans, to do them? Like, if you know that they're speaking a different language, go get an actual Chinese person. You know how sick it would have been if it was an actual Chinese person born in China, has like zero clue what English is, and he's an actor, right? Or a Russian from Russia that is an actor, and it would have set a completely different tone. But then we're just like, no, we have the AT&T girl.
No, this is just for social media.
But that's them trying to make you feel comfortable.
It shouldn't be. I don't.
We shouldn't be reading subtitles. Remember, we can't read.
This is where I'm going a little crazy. It's like, you guys are making it completely comfortable. Like, it's almost like you're making it too comfortable for us. You can put a Chinese actor in the damn film. Like, it's not gonna make me uncomfortable. It's not gonna make the 7-year-old like, oh my God, like what's happening?
Well,
like,
maybe not in California, but you'd be surprised.
If you're going to that extra limit, like let's put China and Russia as the team members in their
China
thing.
Don't want to be part of this all. You don't know.
Just get a damn Chinese actor. Like it's not that hard.
I don't know. Maybe China's like Trump's America. Like I don't even want to be in that.
I'm just gonna be like, that's some dumbass shit though.
You were saying you want there to be a semblance of characterization from the Chinese astronaut and the Russian one. But I actually thought that seeing him just find their albums was a good aspect of the movie, and I almost wish we were left in that more, because I thought the flashback started too soon.
Yeah, okay.
And yes, it does take a while for us to get the reveal that he didn't even want to go on this, and he was literally kidnapped, put to sleep to be in this mission, but adding to this critique is I thought the flashbacks were too long and there was too much of them, but this is me like nitpicking for sure. So I kind of got bored of the flashbacks sometimes. Not that I'm incompetent and I don't like hearing exposition, but I'm bitter.
I have to stop you there for a second.
Okay.
But the one thing I liked about the flashbacks is that it gave you a moment to breathe. And so that moment when Rocky saved Grace, put him into the chamber in order to get healed, you get thrown into a flashback.
Yeah.
And you don't want the flashback, but it makes the stakes feel so much better because you want to know what happened to Rocky. You want to see what happened to Rocky, and you're in this flashback. So you're like, almost like you're not even giving a shit what you're seeing in there. You're just like dying to get back into the moment. And I like that.
Yeah, my brother, every time there's a flashback, he would turn to me. He's like, are you serious? Like, I want to go back to the actual interesting parts of the movie.
So it's moments done well, and then there are moments done wrong, and that's why it's like it's too many. And it's almost like I don't care if you're gonna give me the Chinese man that's not actually like from China. Get that shit out. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them. Like, let them be just dead bodies. You know, like let them just be the dead bodies, and then I'm like, oh, they're from China actually. You know, so. Those were moments where like flashback too much. Like, you remember that moment when they all walked in, they're like, oh, I'm from China.
What's up with you in this China?
And he's like, and then remember, and then Ryan Gosling character got nervous and stuff like that. That's the girl from AT&T that is like clearly just a white woman. And then there's another there's another man that's just Chinese. Like, this is clearly a dude that's born in America, that lives in America.
But I thought that was kind of funny too, because those are like America's biggest rivals in the modern day. So.
Yeah, but just get that shit out of my face. I'm not kidding. I don't like the flashbacks. Good sometimes.
Sign of times.
But it's also not so great, and I think it kind of bloated the film at times.
Stop your crying. It's a sign of the times.
Sign of the times, yeah. Sign of the times.
We gotta get away from here.
So, do you think he went back to Earth, or did he stay in the planet of the rocks?
If we're gonna prescribe him as being a Sagittarius, I would think that he would choose a life of exploration and venture over boring. Well, I just glazed Earth like earlier, but I don't want to go back to a whole ice age. So
yeah, I don't know if I would want to go back either. I feel like if I saw like all these rocks that like thought I was like a messiah, I'm like,
well, I don't think he's a messiah, but this ain't.
I mean, I don't know, but they were just like, they're like, like I don't know if I can go backwards from that.
But what if you got horny though? What would you do? You have to be asexual though.
That's such a good point. Yeah, that changes everything. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Like I said, we are a new YouTube channel, and YouTube hates us. So please like this, comment. Goodbye.